My name is Lillian Esseth, and I'm the Assistant Director for Student Learning with Housing and Residence Life at Furman University. Welcome to the recording of the Engaged Living information session for the first year experience. This recording is available to students who weren't able to make it to one of our 3 info sessions that we had in the month of May. I hope that you enjoy hearing about our different communities from our faculty and alumni participants. I will be your contact if you have any questions regarding the Engaged Living application process or housing specifics. Enjoy.
Great.
I'll say a quick word to start, and then I'll turn it over to some other people here. Actually, why don't we go around and should we do introductions real quick? I'm Ben Storey, and I guess I could say I'm the founder of the Politics of the Human Soul Engaged Living program. And we've got here, let me ask the faculty to introduce themselves first. Dr. Zubia.
I'm Aaron Zubia. I teach political thought here in the Department of Politics and International Affairs. I'm glad to meet all of you.
Hey everyone, I'm also a professor in politics and international affairs. I teach introduction to political thought, and I also teach Islamic political philosophy.
And we'll get a quick word from our students here. Let's see, Ms. Richardson, why don't you say a quick hello?
Hello, my name is Reagan Richardson, and I'm a rising sophomore.
Ms. Daly?
Hi, I'm Erica Daly. I'm a politics major from Fort Mill, South Carolina, and a rising senior. Yikes.
I've known Ms. Daly since she was a first-year student. When she was a first-year student in this program, she has matured marvelously over the past several years. But it is striking to contemplate her on the cusp of seniority. Mr. Anderson.
I'm Parker Anderson, freshman from Florida, a double major of political science and history, and I am a rising sophomore.
All right, and with that, why don't I turn it over to Dr. Zubia and Dr. Larrivee to introduce the program and then to ask our students to say a little bit about their experience in politics and the human soul over the years. So,
Wonderful.
Dr. Zubia.
All right, very good. So this community of the Engaged Living program is politics and the human soul. And the vision of the program and for this particular community is to provide a community in which your academic lives and social lives coalesce, and you will be in community with other students learning the same content in 2 of the same classes, and you'll be living in community, developing lifelong friendships with one another, taking conversations from the classroom back to the dorm room, having deep conversations over lunch. It's a wonderful thing that I've seen. It's a wonderful thing to be involved in. Deep friendships are formed, great conversations are had, and so I really look forward to being involved with this program this year. Now there are 2 linked classes that you will take if you are in the Politics and Human Soul community. The first one is Politics in the Good Life, taught by Dr. Larrivee. The second is Introduction to Political Thought, taught by me. Now, Dr. Larrivee is going to discuss with that first class, which will be offered in the fall, Politics in the Good Life. Dr. Larrivee is going to give an overview of that right now.
That was smooth, Aaron. I love how you just kind of passed the ball to me. Just want to say, how you doing, TJ, Chloe, and Madigan? I hope you're having a great day. And I just want to begin by saying that I know you're getting, a lot of information from all sorts of different people, and but you know what? It's going to be great. When I first went to college, I didn't have any info sessions. I just walked right in and didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what a major was, or I was like, what's a major and a minor? Don't I just take classes? And so I felt kind of like lost and anxious and kind of wandering around. And I was first gen student, so my dad didn't know. It's like, aren't you just at a big high school? And I said, I don't even know where I am. But so having like the Engaged Living program, like as Dr. Zubia was saying, is really, really amazing, because you get to forge all sorts of relationships you didn't imagine were possible, social and intellectual. And one of the ways we help you forge these relationships is through these two courses. Dr. Zubia teaches one, and then I teach politics and the good life. And it's a first-year writing seminar. So what you get with me is that we'll look at really cool course content to teach us how to learn, research better, and also write better. And the texts we'll turn to will be J.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. So I'm sure all of you have maybe seen the movies, but haven't had a chance to maybe reflect more deeply on why you like them, or perhaps don't like them, but you all like them, obviously. Trust me, I know you do. And we get to look at these fiction, these text-written fantasy and fiction in a way that I don't think you've ever done before, which is how to read and interpret and write about a variety of themes, plots, characters, images, and even words. And I should remind you that the author of Lord of the Rings, J.R.R. Tolkien, was what you call a philologist, and that means lover of language. And he thought that a single word, if you trace the history of a word, it opens up entire worlds to you. And he wrote that way. You can find words here and there, images, references, that underneath which you'll find layers and layers of meaning and things that are really beautiful and fascinating. So that's why I chose fiction. You might think fiction's easy, but it's actually an intellectual endeavor to understand and to plumb the depths of. And it also, of course, is really exciting and edifying. Now, I talked to my dad about this. He's like, "Oh, what are you teaching in class?" And I said, "Well, we're gonna read Lord of the Rings, Dad." And he's like, "Oh, that's what they teach in college nowadays?" And I'm like, "You never even went." So he was jesting, but then I told him, like, this is pretty hard to do. I mean, you're reading a work of fiction by a massively serious scholar. And so that's what we're going to do now. How does that relate to politics and the good life? Well, when we look at the Lord of the Rings as a whole, it's very political in that we look at the rise and fall of great empires, of kingdoms dangling on a thread of justice, evil empires bent on domination. We also find smaller political communities like pastoral ones, small cities, feudal, and communities that try their best to escape politics only to find themselves dragged back in. And also within the discussion of political life, we also find different conceptions of what it means to live a good life. What are the virtues and what are the vices that one can discover and live by? So that's what we'll do in the first year writing seminar. And I would like to talk about PTC and Symposiarch and lecture, but how about we do that in a minute? We'll first go back to Aaron for your class, and then I'll elaborate.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Larrivee. So that is the first class in the fall of the writing seminar. In the spring, we will offer Politics 103, Introduction to Political Thought. And in this class, we will leave the fantasy world and enter the real world. We're going to wave bye-bye to Frodo and Gollum, our friends. But we're going to discuss some of the same principles, right? We're talking about politics, the essential questions of political life, including what is justice, what is the good life, and what is the proper way to order political society, the best way to order political society. And we're going to be reading great texts and discussing and deliberating on the greatest questions as they were approached by the great thinkers throughout history in the Western tradition. We'll begin with Plato in the 5th century BC in Athens, and we'll have great conversations with Machiavelli, who's writing in 16th century Italy, with John Locke in 17th century England, and Alexis de Tocqueville in 19th century America, the famous Frenchman who traveled throughout America and was perhaps the most perspicacious analyst of American political life. And so that's what Politics 103 is about, introduction to political thought. the essential questions of political life, and we will really dig deep into these texts, and it'll be a great experience. It's a class that we love to teach, and the students love to take. That's what they tell me. All right, now you'll also be involved if you are part of the Politics and the Human Soul community. You'll also be involved in the Tocqueville program. Now, the Tocqueville program is a part of Furman University. It's a vibrant intellectual community dedicated to investigating the central moral and philosophical questions of political life. Those moral and philosophical questions at the heart of political life. It's an intellectual community in which, you don't even have to be like-minded, matter of fact. You just have to be interested in these questions, and we present the best views, the best arguments for various perspectives on politics, and the good life, and the moral and philosophical questions germane to political life. And we do that in a variety of settings. One of them is the Political Thought Club, which Dr. Larrivee will discuss in one moment. But I want to mention to you that the students in the Engaged Living program will be invited to Tocqueville program lectures. And at Tocqueville program lectures, we bring top public intellectuals, top professors from around the country, those who are setting the terms of our nation's political debate, and we train the students to engage with them. Right? We are going to train you to ask questions and engage in conversations with these top thinkers, and that is a special. Those are special occasions, these Tocqueville lectures, and we're very excited about those who will be a part of these lectures. And Political Thought Club is a weekly event in which students get together and discuss these questions. So Dr. Larrivee is going to discuss that with you briefly.
Just to add a point to your point, Aaron, the Tocqueville program lectures will also be assigned in the first year writing seminar with me. So this will give you a chance to step outside the classroom and engage with a national dialogue that's happening around the country right now. And these speakers whom we'll invite have their fingers on the pulse of this national discussion. And it's a really great opportunity to be able to ask them questions, sitting in the audience, and have them directly respond to you. And if you have a very particular interest or something catches your attention, look, it's possible that you can even forge some relationship with one of these speakers whom you really love, and email back and forth and learn things that you would never have a opportunity of learning at other places. So Aaron also mentioned, Dr. Zubia also mentioned the Political Thought Club. Political Thought Club is super awesome. Political Thought Club meets every Friday or once a week, usually 4 p.m. till 5 p.m. And it's completely voluntary, but I highly, highly recommend you joining. And the Political Thought Club coalesces together. Students voluntarily come together to discuss the great questions of politics and moral life. And we read all sorts of texts together, just a little bit of reading each week that we do, and we discuss them in a really vibrant fashion. Let me add too that everyone in the Political Thought Club is neat. All the students who joined it, they're just like neat people. They're all very different. They all have their interests, and if you don't mind me saying, quirks, because 3 of the Political Thought Club people are here, and I will be leading it. So basically I sit with all of you and we ask questions about the texts we read, and we discuss them, and we come away far richer for it. And there's generally a theme over the course of the year. And our theme this year is looking at, in effect, human experience in particular political settings, and whether or not our experiences, we long for something more than just what is earthly. If we're reaching out for something more, something in which we crave to find more meaning. But we'll look at texts like short stories or speeches or little memoirs, and they're easily digestible, not like super long books, and extremely compelling, and you'll find it very enjoyable. So I really, really hope those in my first year writing seminar and in other courses that you take. Encourage people to come. We'd love to see you there, and I'll be bothering you about it every day in class. And before I say continue, there's 3 PTC students here. So would you like to add anything to what the Political Thought Club is like? Mr. Anderson, we'll go with you first.
Sure thing. It's really like people throw around community like a buzzword a lot, but it really is a community. We go beforehand, we'll discuss throughout the week, but we'll go, we'll show up, we'll have this really great discussion. And then afterwards, we'll even break into our small groups. And most of us will even get dinner afterwards. And these are conversations that will go until like 11 at night when we start at 5. It's honestly pretty crazy. And I have met so many awesome people through it and had so many awesome laughs and just moments of like, oh, wow, I didn't think about that before. So go to PTC, at least try it. It was probably my favorite experience in my freshman year.
One of the neat things about the students who are with us today is that Ms. Daly and Ms. Daly came through the Engaged Living sequence, Politics and the Human Soul, I think in the second class of its existence. So she was in the second year of this, and then Ms. Richardson and Mr. Anderson have experienced this past year. Just wanted to ask the 3 of them each to, Ms. Daly, if you could describe your experience a little bit in the sequence, and then I'll ask Ms. Richardson to do the same. That'd be great.
Yeah, I think like an overall theme of my existence in the Engaged Living program is that it continues on. You really like continue to question these things with people and forge relationships that have like last throughout Furman. My roommate freshman year in the Engaged Living program is still my roommate today. I was very scared of her when I first met her, but we through digesting these questions together, I was like, wow, like she's really interesting. And like we like also like have very different views on some things, and we really like can have conversations for hours about all these ideals. And we still go to Political Thought Club together. We're both in the TOEFL program together, and I have those kind of relationships with a lot of other people. So it really does form a community for you at Furman and give you a nice structure for your education.
Yeah, similarly, my roommate from this past year is also going to be my roommate next year. We just got along really well, but there have definitely been times where we would have a discussion in class and my friends and I would leave and we would keep talking about it through lunch, and then somebody would bring it up at dinner, and then we would be on it for hours on end. But I think there's something really special about taking a class with people you live with, because you really get to know them, and those class discussions you have, especially when they get into things more interesting like morals and how many pieces of candy do you take out of the candy bowl when it says take 2. You have like real conversations about that stuff. People are giving their real honest opinions on it because you know each other so well that if someone tried to like lie, you would just know they're not telling the truth. So it breeds really honest and just great conversations that I don't think I would have if these weren't people I already lived with.
That's great, Ms. Richardson and Ms. Daly and Mr. Anderson. So we have the perspectives of 3 students, and you have received an overview here of the program. I would love to welcome any questions from our visitors. I see TJ and Chloe and Madigan. We'd be happy to field any questions which you can address to any one of us. And it can be anything related to the program, any questions you have. There's nothing too simple. We'd be glad to hear from you, and we're here to answer any questions you might have.
I have a question about just in general how you live in engaged living. Like, how is it super different from living in the South housing?
I don't want to take that. Let's see. Ms. Daly, you wanna give that a shot?
Yeah, sure. I think it would also be interesting to get Reagan and Parker's perspective too with COVID and everything. It'll be different next year, but still might have some things. So basically you're living in sophomore housing as a freshman. South housing, you have hall-style bathrooms, and a lot of them have been singles this year due to COVID. And in the lakeside housing, you have suite-style rooms. So you and your roommate and another person in your roommate all share a bathroom. And that's very nice. And you're also like right by the water, so you can walk really quickly to the DH and campus and walk around the lake. That's how it's different, like practically from South housing. In terms of like with your classmates, like if you happen to meet these people from other places or in a politics class as a person in South housing, I think it is a lot with what Reagan said. That's what the difference is. You really force those connections a lot faster and get to conversation a lot deeper.
Okay, thank you. And also, how exactly does that application work, or when does it open for any type of housing? Because I've been looking online and everybody else from different colleges is talking about their housing being like completely different and already open, and I was wondering when this one started.
Let me suggest that you asked that, Ms. Cavanati, let me suggest you ask that question of Lillian Essef, the overall coordinator of this. We're unfortunately none of us are student life officials. And so I'm afraid I wouldn't answer the question correctly if I did so. But Lillian Essef will certainly know.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Anderson, Ms. Richardson, do you have anything to add to what Ms. Daly was saying about the experience living in Lakeside?
I can add something real quick. I don't know what COVID protocols are going to be next semester, but one thing that I found really helpful was we couldn't really go out a bunch. We couldn't do a ton of stuff, but having people that you already like lived with, and like it was very much like you couldn't go to other buildings. So having people you lived with that you already knew made that so much more bearable because you were already friends with a lot of people you were living with. So that was a big plus COVID wise. You never really felt isolated from other people.
And I would say another one of the nice advantages of Lakeside over South housing is you have a little indoor lounge there with a TV, and that's really great to like meet people and be able to hang out. And we did some fun events throughout the year. We do like Monopoly night, or we would do like an election watch party. That was a really fun one. But we would just kind of, it really promotes all getting together because you would hear people in the lounge, and no matter what time of the day it was, you know, people would come out and they would engage in a conversation. And I really enjoyed that, because you essentially just had a place where if you hung out, someone would show up after not too long, and then maybe you'd get dinner and just talk into the night.
We watched the debates together sometimes, pre-election. That was an experience, a good one, but it was certainly an experience. All of the people politically minded gathered to watch politics was, I think, an unreplicable experience, to say the least.
And one should note here that there are vigorous disagreements among the students in this program, as I think Ms. Richardson and Mr. Anderson could testify, Ms. Daly as well. But that doesn't get in the way of their friendships, which is, I think, a lovely thing.
Thank you for those answers, and thank you for those questions, Chloe. Are there any other questions that you might have thinking about the Engaged Living program?
I have a question, if you all don't mind.
Please.
So, obviously, we would be living in the Lakeside housing, and that is majority sophomores, but I'm really interested in, acclimating to campus very well when I arrive, and fostering relationships with other freshmen, not just the ones that are in the engaged living community. So I guess, I'm sure it's different with COVID, but I guess this question is more directed towards the students. Was it hard to kind of meet up and get to know other freshmen who were in the engaged living communities, given that you were in a separate just housing complex?
I would be happy to take this answer. My view of this was that it is as difficult as you make it. ultimately only one of your classes is with the people you live with. And so the other 3, you're going to be with other freshmen. It all comes down to how willing you are to put yourself out there and meet new people. I have several really great friends that lived in Soho this past year. Once COVID restrictions lifted a little bit more, people from Soho would come over to Lakeside. People from Lakeside would go over to Soho pretty regularly. Also, if you do other activities like a club or sports, you'll meet people through that as well. So it really comes down to like being in classes, talking to the people sitting around you. And I didn't find it super difficult even with COVID.
I'll pop in on the end of that and say the same thing. You know, last year would have been like the year would have been the absolute worst because we couldn't even head over there and like go inside their buildings. But if you, I mean, I'm in a lot of clubs, but if you join a lot of clubs that you're interested in and you really like work to get to know people in a lot of your classes, it's really easy to make friends. And I've made a lot of my best friends out of the regular freshman housing. So you can, if you don't take any kind of effort, manage to isolate yourself, but even just a little bit of outgoingness and you'll know people from everywhere.
Ms. Daly, you have something of the long view on this question, because you're our veteran.
Yes, I would say the same thing and give the same advice that Reagan and Parker have made. I've been able to maintain friendships with people who originally lived in Soho, and also like as a junior and senior, you're also living in different apartment buildings. So I live with my closest roommates, my closest friends on campus. I still have lots of other friends that are like scattered throughout North Village, and we couldn't really go over to their other apartments this year. Still could take lake walks together, still could grab dinner in the dining hall. So you can definitely maintain friendships and easily meet new people throughout your time at Furman.
And I should add, I don't know if I have the authority to say this, but the way that the engaged living housing works is there's about 4 floors. And my understanding is that there will be 2 floors of engaged living, but you'll also have 2 floors of other freshmen over there with you, is my understanding. So it's not like you're totally isolated. Like you have a good chunk of people over there.
Thank you. Those are great answers, everyone. And I just want to reiterate, and this was exemplified in the response of the students, Political Thought Club as well gives you an opportunity not only to make friends with freshmen, but you'll see many upper classmen there too, juniors and seniors. So that's one of the many clubs that Mr. Anderson mentioned, where you can engage with students who are not in your, other freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. Thanks for that question, TJ. And we're open for more.
I'll ask another one. How difficult would you say the courses are, like the political thought course and the other one, simply because, I mean, again, this whole idea of acclimating to a college academic curriculum, I wouldn't want to, overload myself with two rigorous courses. So.
That's a great question. Dr. Larrabee will be teaching the fall course. Would you like to take that one?
Yeah. So the purpose of the writing seminar, the first year writing seminar, for us is to teach you how to write a paper and research in order to write a paper. And at first it'll be a challenge, definitely, because you're coming into college level. But my goal will be to guide you and help you as best as possible in order to do those two things, is research and write. So I've been through this process myself, going through high school and undergrad and graduate school. So I have an experience, I have a personal experience of how the process works. So what we'll do is, in class, we'll spend a lot of time interpreting our providing interpretations of the readings and discussing them, and as well as sharing our work. So you'll be expected to do some, reading on your own, interpret it, and then present your ideas and arguments to the class. And then we can work together to help you and help each other really understand, how to express your ideas, how to formulate a persuasive writing. And also one of the texts we'll look at in the course is just how to write persuasively, how to write logically, by looking at real life examples that you find, say, for example, like throughout American history. So it'll be challenging. In my experience, a lot of the students have, the basis to begin to build up their skill sets. So those are some of the strategies we will go through in learning how to increase our capacity to think, research, and write by presenting our ideas to the class, by interpreting passages together, by getting feedback, not only from me, but from your peers. And that's one of the great things about it is don't think of it as just, say, one of the things that happens, I do think in some, education settings, is that it's sort of you and the teacher, and then you write to kind of go through a hoop, right? The teacher's hoop. But the great thing about my first year writing seminar is that we're all going to work together, and you're not going to feel left out or sort of alone in this process. We'll work very diligently to cooperate, to honestly, you'll find your voice as you go. And I don't mean that in like a cheesy way. You'll learn how your mind works and how you express your ideas in a way that's very satisfying to you, in a way that other people will understand, and you'll find, strategies to do that are unique. But there's another thing we do that will really help out, and that is, they're called the symposiarchs. And a symposiarch is a senior student who handpicks a couple other students that will help me with certain matters within the classrooms. So for instance, symposiarchs are students, often senior students, whom you'll meet and get to talk to, who will take students from the seminar out to lunch. And you can converse with them about what you're going through in life, or how to write a paper, or discuss your ideas. And you have them as a resource, a student resource, to help you, work through your ideas, or certain anxieties or fears or questions or concerns. The symposiarchs, fancy term, they've been through it all. They know exactly what the expectations are, and they have the skills and the genuine desire to really see you flourish. So I will have with me a team of symposiarchs, students who really want to see you flourish and help you out, helping me out. I need them. I can't do it alone. I need them too. So it's teamwork, and the teamwork will really, I think, boost your confidence and your enjoyment of the overall research and writing experience. And I just had a thought, oh yeah, I have like wild office hours too. Sometimes I'll meet with students on Zoom at like 10 p.m. I've had students email me literally 10 p.m. like, can I do this? And I'm like, jump on Zoom. I'm just sitting here reading. So I can't do that all the time, but if you're feeling, trying to get through a passage, or you're trying to write a paragraph or something like that, and you email me, many times I'll be right there to help you out, and we'll work on it together. And what I really like to do, and I love doing this, and we're going to practice this in class, is, sorry, if I keep going on, you can interrupt me if you have any more questions. I really need to diagram my thoughts, because they can get kind of, fly all over the place. And together, I like to map out what you're thinking and make it very clear. And so that when you have a nice outline, or a nice sort of diagramming your thoughts, when you turn to finally writing them down in more detail, you're not staring at that white screen, like Word. It's like, it's an abyss that sucks your soul in, and then you disappear. Together, we've taken your ideas and what you really want to do and crafted them into a nice, manageable direction. So it's going to be hard work. we expect, right, to have clearly written, persuasive, well-reasoned papers. But we have the class collaboration, we have the symposiarchs, meetings with me, mapping out your thoughts, diagrams, and yeah, office hours with me, and a book that teaches us how to write all together. And of course, we're going to read Tolkien, which is inherently really interesting and you'll want to write about. So all of those strategies and all of those resources will put together, and that will make you feel very confident and naturally help you and improve in a way that makes you happy with yourself. So those are some thoughts. Does that answer your question, TJ, or help clarify anything after that, my speech?
Yes, yes.
Okay, don't be afraid to do a follow-up question, or if I said something that sounded a little bit unclear, just let me know.
I would like to reiterate a couple of things you said. I mean, you will be challenged and you will be supported. And the goal is not to overload you, but to help cultivate your skills, and you will have the resources to do that. If we'll open the floor to other questions. I mean, some of the students might have a comment on that, though, on TJ's question. I'm not sure if one of the students wants to jump in at this point. Mr. Anderson?
I can jump in. So as someone who didn't do much writing in high school, especially like no political thought at all, I came in completely unprepared. You know, I won't sugarcoat it. It can be pretty difficult at times, but it's very rewarding. You know, you're working your way through like these very serious questions. It's not like a lot of paper I wrote at high school where I was like, all right, I'll just put some crap on paper and send it out. You know, there was times where I would get super invested. You know, I'd be like, what do you mean, Aristotle? Please. You know, I would be working through these questions till like 1 in the morning and be like, oh, I need to know. But you definitely improved significantly. You know, I was under Dr. Storey when I did my first year writing. And I remember, you know, at the beginning of the year thinking, oh, this is not going to work out. But by the end of the year, I was super engaged, super into it. And I could see my own progress. And there was no feeling in the world like being on top of that mountaintop and going, wow, we have managed to make it and we've managed to thrive. So that's what I would say.
I'll also say, I remember beginning of last year, I was like, why do we need a first year writing seminar? I know how to write. I've been writing since I was like 8. I don't know, probably not that old, but writing for college is a lot different than writing for high school, but you learn how to do it, and it's not like a sink or swim type situation, which I think a lot of us maybe thought it was going to be. It's difficult, but there's like we said, there are a lot of great resources. There were times last semester I would text my symposiarch at 11 p.m. Is king supposed to be capitalized? Or just, hey, can you read my essay? These people really want you to succeed, and you will feel that support even when you're struggling.
I'll say too, with the classes, you have built-in study buddies that you live with, and it's great. And also like with classes, if you're just like breezing through your class, like you're not learning anything. So, and like what Parker said, like it's going to be difficult, but like once you like formulate your argument and you really get it solid and take it like step by step and follow your train of thought, and you learn how to do that, it is very rewarding too. And you will find your voice, like Dr. Larrabee said. A lot of us like in the program and with certain classes will like post our essays in like a Google Drive folder and like read them. And one current senior and another junior would read all these essays each week and try to guess who wrote which one, because all the names were at the bottom. We made a game out of it. And you could like very well find, because for some reason I like to be very alliterative in my titles. And then like there's like other things I'm like, oh, I didn't realize I did that. So that's also fun too. But yeah, it's a very supportive community.
Yeah, can I just put in one quick word here, TJ? It's a very good question. just watching this over a number of years. I've been at Furman since 2005, so I've seen some a number of years of students come through. Everybody is making the adjustment to college is a significant thing. The adjustment to college level academic work is a significant thing for every student. But as Ms. Daly and Ms. Richardson and Mr. Anderson and Dr. Larrabee and Dr. Zubia have articulated, the point here is we're going to challenge you, but we're going to surround you with people and resources that can really help you succeed. And one of the advantages of this particular program is that you're going to spend an entire year in a coherent curriculum that really helps you learn how to think and write. And you get to the end of that year and you're going to be equipped with tools that will help you through every other class in which you have to write at Furman. And so I think that's one of the things that the program strives to do.
If you don't mind me saying, I think, TJ, your question is already points a path towards success, because you're thinking about this. You're like, okay, what do I need to do, in college to, write well, think well, what's it like? See, that's already the right attitude, is you're thinking forward and you're thinking already, how can I do this? What do I need to do to succeed? And I think you should already see that as progress. But you've already progressed already. So like you're taking the right steps forward. So I think you should really be happy about that and take that as a sign of, good things that could possibly come. So that's a great question. So, any other questions? Anyone? Any other thoughts? So, Dr. Zubia, we discussed Political Thought Club, your lecture series, the Symposiarchs, my course. Are there any things that I missed or you want to add or should clarify?
I think if there's anything else that our guests would like to reiterate, or maybe our current students would like to say, if there's anything about your experience in the Engaged Living program that has struck you, just as we've been talking about it, Mr. Anderson, Ms. Daly, Ms. Richardson, feel free to speak up. If not, that's fine. I think we've covered a lot of ground here. And I thank TJ and Chloe and Madigan for their attention. And we'll stick around for just a minute or two more, just to make sure that we're feeling good and confident that we have all the information that we need to proceed.
I kind of jumped in there, but I should write that. If you need my email, I can give you my email, everyone. So I'll type it in the chat. And then if you have any questions, you can email me or you can Zoom me. That's cool. So I'm going to write it down.
Ms. Richardson, Ms. Daly, Mr. Anderson, any last things y'all would like to say?
I thought you were going to ask us to drop our emails too, and I was like, good idea, but I will still do that. I would just say, when I was first admitted to Furman, I was looking at things I possibly want to do. I saw this and I was like, ooh, opportunity to live in better housing. I really really didn't want a hall bath for some reason. And I was like, okay, politics, this will probably be pretty cool, but we'll do it. And I did not realize how profound an impact it will have. And I'm so glad going into senior year that I did that. I still have that community with me and people that will be lifelong friends. So if you're even thinking about it, even if it's just for the housing, definitely sign up, talk to us. You will not regret it.
And I'd say another advantage, real quick, would be the relationship with the professors. I think Dr. Larrabee, Dr. Zubia, Dr. Storey, I'm close to all three of them. There would be times where I'd walk out of class and I would just have an hour-long conversation. I know Dr. Larrabee stopped me one time and he's like, hey, we should go into my office. I need to talk to you about something. And we probably spent an hour. He drew out this entire chart of Middle Earth and he's like, so I'm workshopping this for my class. And I was super into it. And we went on for an hour. And it's just really great to walk around campus and see these like really intelligent, really smart people who know what they're talking about, seriously engage with you about things. You know, if I've never asked a question and then had, you know, someone like scoff at me, but no, it's like legitimately they try to see where I'm coming from, and they guide me to where I need to be or to see something bigger. And that's really been awesome. And honestly, it's a lot of fun. Like it's some work and it's an intellectual community, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really great experience. And the best part is you don't have to have any, background knowledge of like political thought. I am a math major, not even a politics major, and I thoroughly enjoyed this. I thought it was fantastic. And just what you can do and learn with little to no background was just really fantastic.
Just second one thing Ms. Richardson was saying there. Students in every major thinkable on campus have participated in this this program and TOEFL program activities throughout their 4 years. Then we've sent people on to medical school, to graduate school, and other areas, young lawyers, young people who went straight into business. So there's been lots of different things that people have done. This is not meant to be something that is particular to a certain major.
That's great. That's a great point. Those are wonderful contributions. Thank you to the students and the prospective students here. I do recommend that we leave this room, but stay on Zoom, because I know Chloe had some questions about housing, and Ms. SF would be happy to answer those, I believe. We'll stick around perhaps 30 seconds longer. But thank you everybody for attending. And I believe if we leave this room, we reappear in the big room.
Ms. Cavanati, do you want to ask your question one more time?
Yes, I had a question about the whole application process of Engaged Living or housing in general, because I hadn't been told much about that or when that opens.
Sure. So you will be able to access your housing preference form, which all students need to do, and your Engaged Living application as soon as you get your Furman credentials. So that should be coming to you around May 17th is when they told me that you'll get essentially kind of that username, and then you can set your password up. And then you'll also are getting instructions, and I just actually looked at the email that you're going to be getting that tells you how to log in to our housing system, and that's where you're going to find both of the applications. And so you'll get step-by-step instructions on how to complete your housing preference form. And then there's step-by-step instructions on our website, and there will be a link in that same email that you get on how to complete your Engaged Living application. But if you want to get a head start, we've already put the essay questions on our website. So if you want to start writing those, you can get a head start on that, because that's the majority of what your Engaged Living application would be.
Okay, thank you. That cleared up a lot of things.
Of course, definitely. And I'm always happy to answer questions via email, or you can call my office if once you get access to that, you're having some issues. Any other questions? Well, perfect. Well, sounds like politics and the human soul, you're done with your breakout room.
I believe so. It was a productive conversation.
Excellent.
Thank you, everybody. It was nice to see you.
Well, thanks so much for attending, everyone. And let us know, of course, if you have any questions, and we're excited about your excitement in Engaged Living.